You're listening to the Canadian Destroyer Wrestling Podcast with your host, the Oatmeal Hero on YouTube.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Canadian Destroyer Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, the Oatmeal Hero, and we are here on YouTube.com or .ca, whichever one your region specifies you to. So we are now in the fallout of NXT Brooklyn 2. I'm not going to lie to you, I had a little bit of doubt watching the pay-per-view because the lineup wasn't really impressing me too much. It didn't look good on paper. Well, thank goodness it just didn't look good on paper. It actually produced and solid show. So the first match we had Austin Aries, a double versus No Way Jose. Once again, one of these matches I probably will not put on like a pay-per-view, especially in Brooklyn, but like I said, it did look good on, well, it didn't look good on paper, my apologies, but it actually ended up being a really good match overall. We did have a double come up on top over No Way Jose, giving him his first loss here in NXT. When the match was done, Austin Aries continued his assault on No Way Jose, and Hideo Itami made his way out to save No Way Jose and deliver the GTS on Austin Aries. The next match we had was the match between Ember Moon and Billie Kay. Now this was the debut of the TV debut of Ember Moon. She has been wrestling with the NXT brand for quite some time now, very well known in the independents. Moon did defeat Billie Kay. Her finisher was actually really interesting, and it had people like just baffled on how it was executed, because never we've ever seen anything like this here, to be honest with you. So when we did see something like this, we lost our heads, and a lot of people in Brooklyn in the Barclays Center did end up losing their head. It was like she went to the second rope and did like a corkscrew stunner. It was really odd, but regardless, and it will look pretty cool too. But if you do have the opportunity to actually watch the pay-per-view, or even just to watch that finisher, I would say totally do it. Even her offense was even just interesting as well too. It's a unique style of an offensive barrage. It looks like that she's gonna go pretty damn far here in NXT and even in the WWE, probably catapulting the Women's Revolution to something bigger and better. The next match we had was Bobby Roode versus Cien Almas. This was the actual another TV debut and wrestling debut of the glorious one, Bobby Roode. He actually did end up defeating Cien Almas. Once again, this is one of these things where I felt like it was more like a last ditch, like a last effort, or like, oh, we don't have enough matches to fill up the card, so let's just put this on here. And like I said, it did not look good on paper, but the match was actually really good. To my surprise, it was actually really, I was just like, wow, it was good. It was really good. Bobby Roode did pick up the win against Cien Almas, giving Almas his very first loss in NXT as well too, which kind of sucks as well. His theme song, everyone kept on singing his theme song there, and you know what I mean, all they just kept on saying was glorious, and that's all they kept on saying. New York, they baffle me, brother. The finisher, what he has, is a pump handle slam. You know what? Right now, him being Bobby Roode, claiming to be the it factor back in TNA, NWA, and wrestling for that company for God knows how many years, what he really needs is a new finisher. His pump handle slam, it doesn't cut it. It's actually really bad. It's just like, oh, that was the end of the match, and even I was surprised that was the end of the match. Like, the pump handle slam is a great amateur move, but to be honest with you, for a finisher, doesn't really know. So I hope down the road they actually do make a better finisher for him, because he is someone who actually deserves a better finisher. A pump handle slam is not a finisher move, sorry, at least not in these days here. So tag team action, we had the Revival against Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. We did have the Revival actually defeat Ciampa and Gargano. This was a really good back and forward match. This is the first time that Ciampa and Gargano have wrestled in front of a crowd this big, so they might have had a little bit of a pre-match jitters, but regardless, they did work things clearly. They did have a really good match, but unfortunately came up too short. There were numerous close calls, but in the end they couldn't get it. Johnny Gargano did tap out to the reverse figure 4 leg lock applied to him. You know what? I really hope this spans for another match between these two. It's a shame that they never won in Brooklyn, because that would have been really, really, really nice to have. Johnny Gargano did mention that he did have some of his best matches here right there in New York, and it would have been really nice to have taken home the NXT Tag Team Championships that night. But like I did say, he did come up a little bit too short. So Asuka versus Bayley 2. That was a hashtag which was used last night. This was truly a back and forth match. The first one was really good. The second one, I believe, tended to be a little bit better. Bayley did come up with a better game plan or strategy, and she actually delivered. Like, she was on top of the ball, but the ball was not inflated enough for her to pick up the victory. Unfortunately not. She did fall short to the Empress of Tomorrow. She got pissed. She ended up doing a Bayley to belly on Asuka. Asuka did kick out. Bayley showing frustration, of course. Then she pissed Asuka off, and Asuka gave her a fury of kicks and strikes, and that's what ended the match at the end. And then after the match was done, Asuka did show Bayley some respect, did hug her. We are assuming that was Bayley's last stand right there in NXT, because she did go out to hug Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch and Charlotte, because, you know, they do form the 4 horsewomen of the WWE. This right here, this might be put into stone, ladies and gentlemen, that Asuka is not giving up that belt anytime soon, and she looks like she's going to be a very dominating champion for a long period of time. So moving right along to the main event here, we did have the King of Strong Style, Shinsuke Nakamura, versus the Samoan Machine, Samoa Joe. It was clearly dominated by Joe most of the time. We did see the comeback from Nakamura. Joe did work on Nakamura's knees so he couldn't deliver his devastating kicks and blows to Joe as much as he would plan to, which is very smart wrestling by Joe, of course. The Nakamura did administer the comeback and actually did pick up the Bumaye knee to the back of the head from the second rope, and end up kicking him with the Bumaye knee in the face. Yes, I still call him Bumaye because, like I said, I am a New Japan Pro Wrestling guy. But regardless of that, right now, he did end up getting the 3 count, which gave him his first ever championship in North America, and being the suitable replacement for Finn Balor of the face of NXT. Now at the end of this match here, we did see Joe roll out to the outside of the ring. He did look pretty hurt. It could only be assumed that he did suffer a serious jaw injury, because the referee did throw up his arms in the X movement, so he was able to walk out of the arena no problem, but it did look like he did suffer an injury. Hopefully we'll definitely find out to see what has happened. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. I'm going to assume that he probably busted his jaw, because he did take some nice shots to the face with Nakamura's knees. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the rundown of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2. Like I said, didn't look very promising on paper, but in the end turning out to be a very good pay-per-view. I still probably have to say that the first one was still the best one, of course, because, you know, you're filled with a little bit more emotions, but we did really see a lot of great debuts in this particular one as well too. I hope that the next takeover would actually be really good. I hope it continues on from here. I hope we do get to see No Way Jose beat A-Double. I hope we see Billie Kay try to dominate over Ember Moon and her unorthodox offense, but we clearly know that's not going to happen, because I think they're pretty much lining up Ember Moon for Asuka anyway. The Cien Almas, I hope I think him and No Way Jose would make a really good match as well too. But regardless, I want to see Ciampa and Gargano win the NXT Championship. I'm sick and tired of seeing the Revival as champions. You know, they are a very good tag team. I just don't want to see them personally anymore, and I look forward to seeing Bayley on the main roster. Which way she goes, whether she goes SmackDown or Raw, it doesn't matter. Regardless, the show will be a lot better than it already is, and I hope to see a very long reign from the King of Strong Style. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The rundown, things that I would like to see personally happen in WWE or NXT. We are not too far away from SummerSlam, which starts at 7 p.m. live only on the WWE Network, of course. So this here, really good show to go into the show, which is happening tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, my name is the Oatmeal Hero, and you have been listening to the Canadian Destroyer Wrestling Podcast right here on YouTube.ca, or once again .com, whichever region specific, and everything else is just a sunset flip powerbomb. Canadian Destroyer Wrestling Podcast.
You're listening to the Canadian Destroyer Wrestling Podcast with your host, the Oatmeal Hero on YouTube.